It's even more beautiful. Just to its right, we are all green right now. At under 4 minutes to go to launch, everything is green. And again, in Kourou, green means go. Look at how the weather has cleared up. You know, I'm a NASCAR fan. They'd call this Bill France weather, clearing up for the launch this evening. And we never had a problem with weather tonight. It was yesterday that weather was the issue, but it looks like we're moving rapidly now toward the 3-minute mark in the countdown. Again, history tonight being made with this historic heavy payload, over 10,730 kilos. And again, made up of EchoStar with 6,300 kilos, EchoStar 18 for Dish Network, and BRIsat at 3,540. The remainder, the SILDA and the support structures. Again, hats off to the engineers here at the Space Base who have worked so hard to squeeze out additional performance from the Ariane 5 ECA. All of the engineers involved with it. We set a record back on VA 212 back in February 2013, and tonight we break that record by 337 kilos, closing in on the 2-minute mark before the launch this evening. And I'm getting excited because, like I say, I've been here quite a while, and I have been waiting for this moment as we get close to the actual countdown and liftoff. So at the 2-minute mark, you see those two arms surrounding the Ariane 5 in Kourou. They're called the bra. They're not actually holding the 780-ton rocket upright. That's gravity's job. The arms support the fuel lines, which are topping off the liquid propellants. We keep doing that till just before the launch, and then those arms will pull back. Well, they've been waiting a long time, too, and the VIPs are now heading out onto the balcony to watch the launch in the sundown here in Kourou. Bathed in sunlight. It is going to be quite a show coming up in a minute, 20 seconds from right now. As the Ariane 5 gets set to go, they're going to be watching it from the balconies. That's 13 kilometers from the Ariane 5 launch site.
Attention pour moins une minute.
There's the announcement we've been waiting for.
Top H0 moins une minute.
We are under 1 minute to go. We welcome everybody from around the world watching the live webcast on Arianespace.com. Greetings to our friends watching at Airbus Defense and Space in Europe, EchoStar and Dish Network. Their headquarters in Inglewood, Colorado, PT Bank Rocket in Jakarta, SSL in Palo Alto, California, Kness and Arianespace in Paris. All of our industry partners all across Europe. Even my wife, who has waited so long for me to get back to Denver. Only moments to go, and we will hear the famous countdown in French from Kourou. Enjoy the show.
À tous de l'EDO, attention pour le décompte final. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, top. Allumage Vulcain. Allumage des AAP, décollage. Paramètres à bord sont nominaux.
One for the history books, and in the memory of the late, great Muhammad Ali, the rumble in the Amazon jungle tonight is that mighty Ariane 5 ECA as she roars into the sky above Kourou. My 10th time that I've called a launch, takes my breath away every time. We're 57 seconds into the flight. Ariane 5 breaking the sound barrier here in Kourou, and the massive Jupiter facility beginning to shake right now as the launcher roars out over Devil's Island, made famous by the movie Papillon. 1,300 tons of thrust breaking the Ariane 5, free from the bonds of Earth's gravity. 90% of that power coming now from the two boosters, each one 31 meters tall, 100 feet. They're burning 240 tons of solid propellant in 2 minutes, more than 2 tons a second. When the boosters have done their job, and that'll be in less than a minute from now, Ariane will be 70 kilometers in the sky, traveling more than a mile a second, faster than a speeding bullet. And you can see on the bottom of the screen the numbers, pertinent numbers for tonight's launch. And that data being collected from Guyana tracking station on a big hill behind us here at Jupiter. Engineers there evaluating all the data in real time. 2:07 into the flight. The VIP's still on the patio, and they're waiting for the burnout and jettison of the twin solid rocket boosters coming up in about 3 seconds from right now. And you will be hearing the announcement of the separation of the EAPs, the boosters, and the boosters will have done their job. They will fall away, and we won't need them any longer. And that will be occurring. There you see the animation. We've now lost about 600 tons worth of weight. The mass of the launcher, 180 tons, and all that's gone in about 2 minutes. The lighter we get, the faster we go. The next major event will be the jettisoning of the fairing. We'll see that in a moment. It'll be gone in a few seconds. And it has protected the satellites on the ground, and in their early minutes of the flight into the sky. There you see the animation of the quaff, or the fairing going away. We just lost 2 more tons. There's some great video from an earlier mission showing what it looks like as that fairing drops away. And the launcher is now 118 kilometers above Earth. We're technically in space. We still have a long, long way to go, however. I call your attention to the animation. You see all the numbers on the bottom of the screen. And we also will be watching the desired flight path in a moment on the upper right-hand side of the screen. See that curve and the green dot? We want to follow that curve perfectly. That means our performance is nominal. More key officials at Jupiter. Bruno Gerard, the Vice President of Arianespace, responsible for the establishment here in French Guyana. Joël Donadel, the head of ESA's offices here in Kourou, and Bernard Chamoul, the head of CSG for Kines. The main cryogenic stage, or EPC, now burning. It burns for about 9 minutes. And the EPC is really just a huge fuel tank. It holds 150 tons liquid oxygen, 25 tons of liquid hydrogen. That engine gulping 320 kilograms, 700 pounds of fuel a second. That's 500 times more than a jet engine. You know, I have absolutely no idea what the fuel mileage is on the Ariane 5, but it is built for speed and power, and in that arena, who cares about fuel economy? It is a workhorse. And there you see that we're moving out over the Atlantic Ocean. You know, I live in Denver, and one of the questions I frequently get from people is, why do I come here to French Guyana for a rocket launch? When do you come down here? Well, the space base is only 500 kilometers, 300 miles north of the equator. The Earth rotates faster at the equator than it does, say, at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Thus, the Ariane 5 gets a huge boost from the Earth's rotation. This allows satellite operators in many cases to launch heavier payloads, add more fuel to their birds, and increase their operational life. And that generates more revenue. Just one more reason that Arianespace is the undisputed champion of the commercial satellite launch industry. Oh, you know, and another question people ask, what about hurricanes? Well, I'm not a meteorologist, but the European Space Agency evaluated locations for the base. One thing they learned, hurricanes in the Western Hemisphere don't drop this low. Look at those pictures of the replay, just 6 minutes, 28 seconds into flight as the Ariane 5 roared off the launch pad here in French Guyana. And, you know, seeing it roar off the pad reminds me of one other thing. You can never say never, but French Guyana doesn't have earthquakes. So the only time the Earth shakes down here is when that happens, which is one of the huge Ariane 5s or the Soyuz or the Vegas take to the sky from CSG. We are right on track at the 7-minute mark, and the rocket is currently 165 kilometers above the Earth. We're moving on out at great speed tonight. Final target 9.3 kilometers per second. And, you know, a few more interesting facts. EchoStar 18 and BRIsat represent the 533rd and 534th satellites to be launched by Arianespace. They also are the 119th and 120th satellites to be placed into geostationary transfer orbit by the workhorse of the fleet. The Ariane 5 has been picked up by our tracking station in Natal, Brazil. Everything functioning perfectly right now. Tonight we're using 5 tracking stations. Here in Kourou, it's Gilat, up on a large hill just south of us here at the launch base. Natal in Brazil, Ascension Island in the mid-Atlantic. The west coast of Africa, we've got Libreville. And on the east coast of Africa, we have Melindi. Ariane sends data to those ground stations, and that tells us how the flight is progressing in real time. And, you know, one of the secrets behind the whole thing is the teams evaluate absolutely every aspect of the mission. And they share that with all the customers. And every single time we fly this complex machine gets better and better. And the Ariane 5 ECA has definitely proven itself. Our next major event, the cutoff of the main stage, or the EPC. And there's the graphic image and the announcement from the DDO. The main stage has now completed its job, and the upper stage has begun its mission. There you see images from a previous flight. You notice the little flash of light there? Well, the ignition, just before ignition, small rockets on our side of the upper stage fired, and that allowed the upper stage to move away, and then we safely ignite its engine and continue on the journey. Of course, immediately we dumped off those small rockets because, again, the lighter rockets fly faster. And we will now burn the upper stage, or the ESC, for about 16 minutes. Time now to hear about EchoStar 18.
Since 1980, Dish has been a leader in the satellite TV industry, offering the best value in entertainment. From its modest entrepreneurial beginnings to the evolution of its consumer pay TV service, Dish has earned a reputation for award-winning innovation, programming excellence, and superior customer care. The company that started with Charlie and Candy Ergen, Jim DeFranco, and a dream has grown to approximately 18,000 employees and nearly 14 million customers. Headquartered in Englewood, Colorado, Dish uses multiple digital broadcast uplink centers located around North America to receive signals from hundreds of programmers around the world. Those signals are cleaned, compressed, and encrypted before being sent to Dish satellites orbiting 22,000 miles up in space. From there, the signals are sent to customers' homes, the equivalent of 4 trips around the Earth in the matter of just a few seconds. Dish's state-of-the-art service comes to life for customers with its full line of best-in-class equipment. Anchored by the revolutionary and most award-winning DVR ever, the Hopper, Dish takes the whole home entertainment experience to new heights.
Hopper was designed to leverage both the excellence and capability of our satellite fleet and merge that with the emerging mobile and internet technologies. So when we developed Hopper 1, for example, we gave consumers truly unexpected features like Primetime Anytime, the capability to automatically record all their 4 primetime channels using a single tuner, so they would never miss out on any primetime show. And Hopper has continued to evolve. With Hopper 3, we now have 16 tuners, and customers can watch and record up to 16 shows at the same time. That is truly a conflict-free TV experience. And Hopper 3 also comes preloaded with popular apps like Netflix, Vivo, and Pandora. Hopper 3 is also the first major pay TV DVR that offers universal search that integrates search across live TV, DVR, on-demand, and even Netflix. Hopper 3 also has a special feature called Sports Bar Mode at Home, which allows consumers to take 4 channels and combine it into a single 4K video output. So you can watch up to 4 shows or 4 games at once, all in high definition, all on the same screen. Customers can also take their entire Hopper experience on the go with Dish Anywhere and Hopper Go that lets them watch live TV, DVR, and on-demand content, both with and without an internet connection. Many of these great features and capabilities of the Hopper 3 rely on the excellence and capacity of our satellite fleet. For example, we had to modify our uplink systems, our satellite systems, and the Hopper 3 software to be able to deliver primetime anytime. And when we talk about 4K video, our satellite fleet enables customers to watch the highest definition of video, no matter where they live, without having to worry about bandwidth constraints at home.
With the launch of Echo 18, Dish looks forward to continuing its leadership in providing the absolute best value, unmatched technology, and a superior customer experience to millions of consumers.
We're back at Jupiter. All continues to go well. And we see that we're almost over to Africa right now. Amazing how fast the Ariane 5 moves out. The 4th satellite that EchoStar has entrusted to Arianespace. And as you heard, the 6.3-ton satellite will provide enhanced services to nearly 14 million DBS customers of Dish Network LLC, and you see many of the officials there from EchoStar and Dish Network. And again, some great award-winning technology that they bring to the marketplace. And of special note, this satellite also carries a spot beam covering Cuba, which will usher in new TV options for that island nation. 14 minutes and 45 seconds into the mission. All is well, and time now to take a look at BRIsat, making history tonight itself.
This is our homeland, made of thousands of islands. A land with dynamics of its own, from city areas to remote areas, facing challenges together. And here we are, born and raised between diversity of dynamics, areas, and human characters, working hard with the children of the nation. committed to reach the unreachable areas, to serve people with outlets spreading throughout the archipelago. Experiencing the pulse of transaction with extensive BRI e-channels. Grateful for being your personal financing assistant with the largest ATM network in the country. Breaking transaction limitations by providing EDCs to the most remote places. Exploring the country with IBAS BRI. Reaching inaccessible areas with a fleet of mobile microbanking vehicles. It's an honor for us to serve you every day, no matter where you are. Our achievements are reflections of our commitment. We never stop to serve better. We're confident to be a problem solver to Indonesia's banking access, to bring financial inclusion to all people. We proudly present BRIsat, the first and only satellite owned by a bank. In collaboration with Space System Kourou, a satellite manufacturer from US, and Arianespace as provider of rocket launchers. The rocket is planned to be launched in June 2016 from Kourou in French Guyana, and this Ariane 5 rocket will launch BRIsat into space. This is the future of Bank BRI. Better banking services for all, to reach the unreachable, to offer advanced services in urban and remote areas all over Indonesia. To respond to challenges, to fulfill needs, to state our mission. We exist to connect Indonesia. Bank BRI, the national bank that serves all equally.
Returning to Jupiter, and as we close in on the 18-minute mark of the flight, all continues to go perfectly. The Ariane 5 and its valuable payloads have been acquired by our tracking station in Libreville, located on the west coast of Africa. Amazing, 20 minutes to go from Kourou to Africa. Another first tonight, we're launching 2 satellites made by one manufacturer. Arianespace's longtime customer, SSL of Palo Alto, California. The first SSL bird to fly on Ariane was Intelsat 5F7. That was back in 1983. In all, 51 satellites from SSL or its predecessors have been orbited by Arianespace. Space Systems Kourou is a leading provider of commercial satellites with broad experience to support satellite operators all across the broad range of innovative space-related missions. The company designs and manufactures spacecraft for services such as direct-to-home television, video content distribution, broadband internet, mobile communications, and Earth observation. And you know, we have 10 more SSL satellites that are on the order book right now for launching. Azerspace 2IS 38, BSat 4A, Intelsat 36, JSat 15, also SkyMuster 2 for Australia, Star 1 D1, and 4 of the SkySat satellites. So a lot more left to come for SSL. Well, we're closing in on 20 minutes in. Time to hear more from SSL.
The launch of EchoStar 18 and BRIsat represents the first dual launch for 2 SSL-built satellites on an Ariane 5 launch vehicle. The spacecraft have a combined launch weight of 9,840 kilograms. The larger satellite, EchoStar 18, will be launched from the upper position. BRIsat will launch from the lower position. Both geostationary satellites are based on SSL's 1300 platform, which provides high power and extensive flexibility while supporting a wide range of sophisticated technology options for SSL's customers. SSL has formed strong and lasting partnerships worldwide, delivering spacecraft that provide a broad range of services and capabilities that help its customers expand their businesses. In today's environment of evolving demand for telecommunications infrastructure, satellites built by SSL help deliver entertainment, information, and critical data around the world. SSL designed and built BRIsat for BRI, the leading bank in Indonesia, and the first bank to own and operate a satellite. BRIsat will enable BRI to expand secure banking communications for 10,600 branches, 237,000 electronic channel outlets, and 53 million customers across the Indonesian archipelago, including locations where banking services were previously unavailable. With SSL's dedication and commitment to the BRIsat program, the satellite was successfully delivered on time to meet BRI's very aggressive 24-month business schedule. In addition, SSL provided a complete ground system, including 2 satellite control facilities.
Working together with SSL team in this BRIsat project is a good experience. We share mutual understanding and common spirit to make the project succeed.
With BRIsat, we're proud to be the first bank in the world that owns and operates satellite.
DISH and satellite operator EchoStar have a long history in the direct broadcast satellite industry, providing direct-to-home television services to DISH customers for more than 20 years. Throughout that time, SSL has built 13 geostationary satellites, including EchoStar 18, for DISH and EchoStar. EchoStar 18 is a massive satellite with more than 100 spot beams. With the addition of EchoStar 18, DISH will have exceptional sparing capability for its fleet and will ensure outstanding reliability for its customers. EchoStar 18 will be operated by EchoStar, with spacecraft telemetry, tracking, and control services provided by multiple spacecraft operation centers. SSL thanks and congratulates BRI, EchoStar, DISH, Arianespace, and the SSL team on the launch of 2 highly capable satellites that bring services that will improve lives and make the world a better place.
Il reste 1 minute de propulsion de l'ESC.
And as we return to Jupiter, we're at the 24 and a half minute mark, basically, into the flight. All continues to go really well. We're now being tracked by the Malindi station on the east coast of Africa, under 25 minutes, and we are nearly all the way across Africa. As I said earlier, Ariane 5 is built for speed and power, and right now there's no way Superman could even catch the Ariane 5. ECA is over 9 kilometers per second now, and 630 kilometers into the sky, 9.34 kilometers per second. Yeah, 9.35 kilometers per second, and really moving out. The powered portion of the flight is now ending. and the need for that powered flight has basically ended. You heard the announcement by the DDO. The events will begin to happen pretty rapidly now. We've entered what we call the ballistic stage. Engineers here call it the SCAR phase, but for us normal people, let's refer to it as the space ballet. The powerful computers that we talked about a little earlier on board the Ariane 5 are making the calculations to align the vehicle perfectly now for the next steps. So let's assess what's happening here. We're high enough. We're going fast enough. The need for raw power is over. Now it's all about pinpoint precision. This is where the guys with the pocket protectors come into play. The real science in rocket science. The upper stage has a brain, a powerful computer in the vehicle assembly bay called the VEB. Even more than being a computer, it's a whole flight management system. And it can make decisions. It's extremely smart. It takes into account information flowing in from all of the systems of the rocket, from the fuel tank, the engine, you name it. There are different options. It will always choose the one that maximizes the success of the mission. I'd love to have it in Vegas with me, right, when I'm gambling. The launcher needs to know right now where it is, where it has to go, and how it's going to get there. That's what we call GNC, Guidance, Navigation, and Control. It's one of the primary subsystems that are involved with the launcher. And you see that we are indeed very high right now, 1,018, 1,020 kilometers into the sky. And we're definitely going fast enough for the mission this evening at 27:50, almost 28 minutes into the flight. And the very first step of this orbital ballet that we talk about is to orient the launcher for the release of EchoStar 18 for Dish Network LLC. And every once in a while, you'll see little flashes of light in the animation here. Small rockets on the side of the launcher are being fired to adjust the orientation. Very fine orientation. And again, this is rocket science that we're involved with. And needless to say, many, many years of hard work by everybody at EchoStar. Coming down to the next few seconds, and a set of springs will eject EchoStar 18 at exactly the right moment. And that's going to be coming up in about 20, 30 seconds from right now. And I know those guys work hard. I work for a company called Viasat, and I'm right across the freeway from the Dish Network offices, and a lot of those folks. So they do a great job, and they've been in the industry for many, many years, pioneers.
Séparation du satellite EchoStar 18.
And there it is at right on time, about 29:15. You can see some of the smiles that when I look down here from the balcony, the VIP area, I can see the smiles of people at Kourou. But the applause traditionally is withheld until both satellites have been separated. EchoStar 18 will be used by Dish Network, as we said, Dish Network LLC, to provide enhanced services to nearly 14 million Dish Network customers. On a personal note, as I said, I've been in the satellite industry in the United States for about 30 years now. I've known Charlie Ergen and the key leaders of both EchoStar and Dish Network since their formation. And yet again, another star twinkles in the evening sky for those folks tonight with EchoStar 18. So now the next act of the space ballet begins. We need to turn the composite away from the direction that we just sent EchoStar 18. Then we are going to prepare to jettison the Silda. And the Silda is that black structure that's sort of tough to see against the darkness of the Earth there, because we are in the dark part of the planet right now. But it's a small fairing, and it's the secret sauce that makes dual launch satellite launches possible here in Kourou. It has protected BRIsat and provided the base upon which we mounted EchoStar 18. And we want to be sure that we send it away from either of those two satellites. And Arianespace uses 7 different versions of the Silda. They range in size from 4.9 to 6.4 meters. They weigh between 400 and 530 kilograms. So these things are pretty big pieces of metal, okay? And when the Silda does separate at about 34:30 into the flight, BRIsat will be exposed to space for the first time. And by the way, I mentioned the sizes of the Sildas. We're using the big one tonight on this mission. As you heard earlier, BRIsat was built by SSL for PT Bank Roket, one of the largest state-owned banks in Indonesia. And if you remember your geography, Indonesia is a massive country. I mentioned earlier that about 17,000 islands. Well, this bank has 10,600 optional or operational branches across those islands, nearly 237,000 electrical channel outlets, or I think we call them ATMs in the United States probably. In all, 53 million Indonesian citizens use that bank, and obviously the only technology that could ever make it possible to pull them all together is satellite. You know, it's amazing to consider how big modern satellites are. You might recall the first man-made satellite placed in orbit was Sputnik. That was on October 4th of 1957, and it was 58 centimeters, 24 inches in diameter, a ball. It weighed 83 kilograms, 184 pounds. All it could do really is send out a beep tone, but it represented an amazing leap in technology, and that little beep was the spark that ignited the space race and focused the attention on to satellite communications. Many of the people you're seeing right now probably got their start or their dream in the satellite industry because of those early days of the space race. Well, compared to Sputnik tonight, EchoStar 18 was a giant. It stood 8.3 meters tall. That's over 25 feet. When deployed, the solar panels, I didn't have the exact measurement, but over 30 meters. And an incredible 13 kilowatts of power for that satellite, 61 high-powered transponders. BRIsat, we call it the smaller of two satellites, but again, it stood or stands 5.6 meters high. You know, we talked about Sputnik. Sputnik ran out of power, went silent 21 days after it was launched. It re-entered the atmosphere and burnt up on January 4th, 1958. So, anyway, there you see it. The Silda sliding away now, and it has been separated, and for the first time, BRIsat is exposed to space. And very soon we'll see sunshine for the first time. And we're now over, 2,500 kilometers above Earth, and we're just under 8 kilometers per second, 8 times the speed of a bullet, basically, and some 13,000+ kilometers in space. So we are now out basically over the Indian Ocean between Africa and Australia. Yet another act of the space race now begins, or the space ballet rather. The onboard computers are calculating the exact changes necessary for dropping off BRIsat. And obviously, we don't want to collide with either EchoStar 18 for Dish Network or the SILDA that we just dropped off. And again, you don't want to bump into something in space. That makes for a bad day. More rocket science and orbital physics coming into play right now, high over the Indian Ocean. The space ballet continues as we prepare for that separation of BRIsat. Again, that's going to happen about 42 minutes into the flight, some 4,300 kilometers above the Indian Ocean at a speed about 7 kilometers per second. Not only do we have to orient the satellite composite in a safe and correct direction, we have to take one more step. Each one of the customers have specific requirements for the insertion of their satellites into geostationary transfer orbit, GTO. Both BRIsat and EchoStar 18 ask Arianespace to spin up their satellites, so to speak, before separation. That process will begin shortly. For BRIsat, it will have what is known in the business as a transversal spin rate of 1.5 degrees per second. There comes the pocket protector and the rocket science again here, right? But that will be the spin rate when the computers in the vehicle equipment bay say that it's okay, and they release the satellite to begin its life in space. And the information that you see down the bottom of the screen here and all of this data, it's flowing back here to Jupiter, to something called the CVI. And a number of people are following and analyzing the key flight data. They report to Ariane 5's flight status, or they give the flight status, to the team that's back here at Jupiter, all those guys that are down in the so-called fishbowl in front of us here. The CVI is headed by a person by the name of Nathalie Philippe, and the Jupiter Mission Control Center is in constant contact with all the facilities that are necessary for launching and following the Ariane 5 rocket. The displays at the Galiet facility allow us to check the main parameters concerning propulsion, piloting, and trajectory. And they also provide the customers a first round of information, which is called an orbital diagnosis, when separation actually occurs. The complete post-analysis performed about a week after the launch. So we are closing in now. We're hit the 39-minute mark since the Ariane 5 ECA roared off the pad in the sunset of the Amazon jungle. And the rocket science of the orbital ballet continues. The upper stage and BRIsat are nearly in the correct attitude and configuration necessary for us to send BRIsat on its way. We are, about 3 minutes away from the separation of BRIsat. Probably 3 of the longest minutes the folks at BRIsat have ever had. And every time I look at the numbers for Arianespace, it absolutely amazes me. We have just seen EchoStar 18 go on its way. It represented the 533rd satellite to be launched by Arianespace. In a couple of minutes, that number is going to grow to 534 when we successfully separate BRIsat. And I often call the Ariane 5, the Ariane 5 ECA, the heavyweight champion of the commercial launch industry. Well, she's earned that recognition, and that title. Tonight, she's placing the 119th and 120th satellites into geostationary transfer orbit since she arrived here at CSG in 2002. You know what is really amazing when you see how this whole thing operates down here. As I said, my 10th time coming to Kourou. Arianespace and its partners make it look so routine. If you think about the many, many parts of this magnificent machine, a lot of them are built in Europe. They're delivered thousands of miles by 2 specialized boats. The satellites are flown in by massive cargo jets into Cayenne, French Guyana. They're then placed on very special trucks, and they are delivered to the space base about 60 kilometers away. And then a full month's worth of work has to go in to test and integrate and prepare for a launch. And it's absolutely amazing how time and time and time again, because of attention to detail and professionalism, the folks at Arianespace and all of their partners make it look so very, very easy. And it's real rocket science. Anyway, high above the Indian Ocean, BRIsat. The first dedicated satellite ever to be launched by a bank is about to be delivered. Let's hear the announcement coming up in a moment.
Séparation du satellite BRIsat.
Hey, right on time. And now the celebration can begin. And you see it there. The call from the DDO. The celebration is on, and Ariane 5 has delivered again. One can only imagine the thrill being experienced by the officials from both EchoStar and Dish Network, along with the BRIsat. Years of work coming down to the last hour, and they placed a lot of confidence in Arianespace, and the Ariane 5 ECA paid off tonight in a major way, placing them both into GTO. And this is probably one of my favorite times of the whole broadcast when I do these, is to watch these individuals shaking hands and enjoying it. Time now to hear about the historic heaviest payload.